Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to The Bunker. It's time for another voicemail. Today's caller is anonymous. Let's hear what they have to say.
Hello, Lloyd. First of all, just want to say thank you so much for all that you do. Really grateful for it. Just a little context to my question, real quick. I'm a fifth generation Jehovah's Witness that was baptized at 12, started pioneering at 16, and went to Bethel, was a full time construction volunteer. All told, probably spent about 20 years in full time service. I left about 4 years ago, and I was a thoroughly indoctrinated human being. It's taken me some time to attempt to assimilate into the real world, and so part of that is I finally recently started to try to date, and I'm seeing someone, and they are in another country, and we recently had Valentine's Day. So my question is about holidays. I kind of epically failed at Valentine's Day. And without going into detail, he sent me flowers a couple days before, and then I, I didn't really do anything at the end of the day. I had some ideas. In my own way, I tried, but really and he was hurt, and he was disappointed, and I just felt like that little girl sitting in school with a stack of Valentines on my desk that other normal kids had given me, but I didn't have one to give back. That's how it felt. So my question is, how do we figure out holidays when, you just posted those great videos about traumatized by a cupcake? We don't, as people that were deeply indoctrinated, we don't only not understand holidays or not know how to celebrate them or not have good memories associated with them. We actually have sadness associated with them. Fear, longing, not good feelings associated with holidays. Plus, we have this residual, what we believe is knowledge about where they came from and what that means, and, all of that. So, how do I think I've seen you talk about it, and I know others have talk about enjoying holidays and embracing them. I think that's something I would need to do to be a normal partner to someone who's had a happy, normal experience in life. I want to be able to be part of that with them. And I don't know where to start. So just wondered if maybe you could help. And I wanted to throw on top of that, you often will say, and rightfully so, that it's important to get good therapy surrounding these issues. And I'm grateful for that advice. However, as many of us that leave in midlife, we don't have resources, something I can consistently do. I have other priorities, necessities that I have to take care of. And I know there's resources, I know there's things, but I just wanted to say that it's not always possible to get good specialized therapy for free. And we aren't set up for success in this real world. So meanwhile, I still have to try to survive it. So thank you again for everything, and any advice you could offer on this, I would really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much indeed for that message. And I do sympathise with your predicament. I wish I could say I sympathised with having stacks of Valentine's cards on my desk as a young Jehovah's Witness. For some reason, that situation is not something I can relate to. Hard to believe, I know. But yes, look, the whole thing with holidays and, the situation with your partner, which is very regrettable, can definitely relate there. Let me take your second question first about therapy. Well, look, I kind of have to say what I say about therapy repeatedly, more than anything, because I want to cover myself, and I don't want people thinking that I am in some way a replacement for professional therapy. What we have here in the voicemail video format is really peer-to-peer support, isn't it? It's, I suppose, people who watch my channel who relate to many of the themes that I'm discussing, and for whatever reason, they want to know what I have to say on any particular issue. And that shouldn't come before professional therapy, especially in instances where someone is suffering from extreme loss or anxiety. So I kind of have to say what I say there, although I do take your point that professional therapy is going to be difficult in some situations to get access to, because it can be very expensive. And I understand that. And well, all I can say is that a lot will depend on how serious the situation is. You sound fairly, balanced, and as though you more or less have a handle on things, but certainly in situations where someone is clearly struggling, you like to think that the state, depending on what the local situation is, you like to think that the state can intervene and get people therapy. And I know there have been suggestions as well, because I interviewed Bonnie Zeman on my channel some time ago, and she has some great suggestions in her book about going to local colleges or universities where people are studying mental health, and they're looking for people to kind of practice on. And when I say practice, it's not just a free-for-all. They're using what they're learning in class. So there's kind of workarounds. I take your point that, you can't always get mental health for free. But again, I just have to point people in that direction and hope that in the cases where it's most needed, there will be something available. So having dealt with that question, on to the holidays issue. And that's a big issue because, quite frankly, when it comes to Jehovah's Witnesses or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, I think I speak for many in saying that our former religion ruined holidays for us. They just did, and as much as I sympathize with your partner, who clearly had, or it sounds like your partner had, expectations that were not met, I'm sure that if your partner were to kind of look at your relationship, in any relationship there are going to be pros and cons. None of us are perfect. And if the worst thing about you is the fact that you have hang-ups about holidays, I think he's got a pretty good deal. Surely there are worse things about someone than the fact that they can't relate to holidays like other people can. Hopefully your partner can see the big picture here, that you are a cult survivor. Having watched this video, by the way, if it helps, you are a cult survivor. You say that you were baptized age 12. Well, I was 11. So, these are ridiculously young ages to be getting tied into extremely potent propaganda systems, for want of a better word. You spent 20 years in full-time service. You left only 4 years ago. You have really been absorbed into this very toxic, very exploitative, very coercive cult. And it's left you not being able to get as excited about the holidays as other people. I get that that's frustrating, but again, big picture, I'm sure there are other areas in which, you can compensate. I'm sure it can't surely be a deal breaker. Speaking for myself, I can't get as excited about Christmas as someone who didn't spend years being persuaded that it's evil and it's materialistic and it's this and it's that. I just can't. In my own case, I have 2 children. I'm determined that they not grow up with those hang-ups. And for their sake, I do my very best to get involved in Christmas, even though, to be completely honest with you, I could probably take it or leave it if not for the kids. And I think Deanna sort of feels similarly. But because of our children, we're going to get excited, or we're going to at least try to get excited. And we're going to hopefully create an experience where our children don't look back and think, yeah, it was ruined for us too. So that's how I feel about Christmas. When it comes to Easter, I don't celebrate Easter. I kind of feel as an atheist as though it's a bit redundant to celebrate Easter. With Christmas, I feel as though Christmas is kind of a secular celebration anyway, whereas with Easter, it's harder to make that argument. Valentine's Day, yeah. I know that sounds terrible. And I'm sure there are many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who are like, oh, you should get into Valentine's Day. Again, really? You know, these are dates. These are dates that people who I've never met came up with in ancient times or whenever. You know, there are worse things, surely, about someone than not getting excited about particular dates. Doesn't mean that you don't care about the ones that you love. Doesn't mean you don't care about your partner. It's just that you've been in a cult that's shaped the way you relate to these particular societal norms. That's all it is. So if your partner's watching, all I would say is, please be patient. Please understand that your partner has been through an abusive situation, and it's just not going to be the same for her as it is for you. I'm sure she's going to do her best anyway, because there's give and take in any relationship, isn't there? And I don't think, similar to me with Christmas, I don't think she's just going to fold her arms and say, I'm having nothing to do with Valentine's Day. That doesn't come across in the message. The fact that she's at least willing to try says something, and says that she cares about you deeply. And try not to take this personally. You know, when you're dating someone or you're in a relationship with someone who is a cult refugee, they need support and they need empathy. And I'm sure you understand that at some level. Maybe you understand it very well. And yeah, I'm sure you're able to, again, see the bigger picture and understand that this doesn't make your partner a bad person or someone who doesn't love you as much as she ought to. It's just purely about the cult and what it's done to her. And again, if that's the worst thing about her as a result of this cult, then I think you've done quite well. Because I'm sure lots of people are messed up in far more profound ways than that, quite frankly. So I don't know whether any of this is helpful. I should just add that just because I feel this way about holidays, and the caller feels this way about Valentine's Day in particular, that doesn't mean that all ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are anti-holidays. I know ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who are mad about Christmas and make a huge thing about it. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's wonderful. The fact that Christmas hasn't been permanently ruined for them. But obviously everyone's different. Obviously everyone is going to react differently to the way they were treated or the indoctrination they received as children. And yeah, it's just about showing empathy and understanding, isn't it? But I hope some or all of this advice has been helpful. If you would like to leave a voicemail, the thing to do is go to speakpipe.com/Seeders, indicating clearly if you don't want your voicemail to be featured prominently, or in any way, in fact, on my YouTube channel. But that's all we have time for. Don't forget to subscribe to the Lloyd Evans channel for more such videos. And as always, thank you for watching.